Hey, what's up, geeks? Darron Brown here, and I'm your instructor from GeekMODE School of React Native. And in this video, we're going to tackle number of Bommerrangs algorithm. So I'm going to go ahead and just read the description. Given endpoints in the plane that are all pairwise distinct, a boomerang is a tuple of points, I, j, k, such as the distance between I and j equals the distance between I and k, in that order. That's really all you guys have to know. So if you take a look at the example, we have three arrays within our main array, which is three indexes. And if we see the explanation and say the output is 2, so why is the output 2? We have to make sure that the distance between I and j is the same as the distance between I and k. If you take a look at the explanation, you can see that they reordered the array. First was 0, 1, 2, now it's 1, 0, 2, and that's because the distance between 1 and 0 is 1, and the distance between 1 and 2 is 1. And then also you can also manipulate the array a lot more, is if you go from distance between, if you move 2 from the third index to the second index, the distance between 1 and 2 is 1, and the distance between 1 and 0 is 1. So because of that, the output is 2. The distance can be the same in those two scenarios twice. All right, so let's get into our algorithm. So let's go ahead and create two variables. The first variable will be our length variable. It's going to be equal to our points dot length. Our next variable is going to be our answer variable, and this is going to be 0. Now let's create our loop. Let our index equal 0, and as long as our index is less than our length, we're going to increment our index, and we're going to let p equal new map. For you guys who are not familiar with how map works, map basically, it using the map function, it creates, what this is doing is turning p into basically an object. And what map does, it recognizes the initial key value pairs of an object. So right now our p is an object, a map object. And all right, so next we're going to create another for loop, and we're going to create another variable j. We're going to set this index equal to 0, and as long as j is less than our length as well, we are going to increment j. Now if I is not equal to j, I'm going to let the distance equal to a function that we have yet to create. So I want you guys to go ahead, we're going to scroll to the bottom of our function. We're going to create a function within our function. We're going to title this function get distance, because we want to get the distance between each index. And this is going to take our I and our j indexes. All right. So we're going to do math.pow. When we use math.pow, we basically have to return a number and then also assign it a value for our power. So for our number, we're going to take our points. We're going to reference our first array within the first index of our first array. Sorry about that. And then points j minus our points j in this first index array. All right, we're going to raise it to the second power. Let's copy this, and now let's increment the index by 1. We're going to do the same thing for our j. And now let's use our distance, our get distance function that we just created. So we're going to pass in.
Hey, what's up guys? Darron Brown here. I just wanted to remind you, at the end of this video, make sure you check out the website www.geekmode.tech. There you can learn more about React Native, Firebase, and Redux. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you check out our free course as well. I'm sure you enjoyed it. Now, that's enough of me, and I'll let you guys get back to the video.
Our I and J. Just give me a second. I'm scrolling up. Our I and our J. Right here, I want to go ahead and just console log our distance so you guys can get an idea what's coming back. Okay, node, LeetCode, and we're going to run our number of what is going on with LeetCode number of boomerangs. For some reason it's not finding number of boomerangs. There you go. So right now our distance is coming in as undefined, and that's incorrect. So let me go ahead and pause the video. I found out where I messed up at, guys. And our get distance, we actually didn't return anything. So make sure you update your function. And I want you to cut that where we added and paste it in between our return. Now let's save and run it again. Oh, making all kinds of mistakes. I'm going to add that. Now let's get it. So the distance between the first iteration of our array is going to be 1. And the reason we're getting 6 is because remember we have basically 3 arrays, and each array has we have 3 indexes, and each one of those indexes contains an array that has 2 values. So we're processing each one of those values, and that should be 6 numbers that we're actually assessing. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And through each distance is also being calculated. So this is what we're doing with our getDistance function. So let's go ahead and continue. Move our console log. Let's get back into it. So we're going to let our count equal our map. We're going to use our 2 little curlies. I forgot what that's called. Make sure you add distance in between here. Let's go ahead and console log our count so you guys can get an idea what's coming back. Right now our count is actually equal to 0, but when I actually take our answer and I increment it by our count, that's going to actually set our value to our distance plus our count. So before I discuss how count works, we're going to go ahead and continue. We're going to have our answer equal our count, and our P map, we're going to set as key value pairs, and the key is going to be the distance, and the count is going to be 1. So right now we know that our count is just by default, our count is 0. That's what our count should be coming out as. And then each time we actually get a value that matches our condition, then our count is actually going to go up, which is what we want. We want to get back these values to our 1s. So after we went through basically our forced for loop, we're going to go ahead and return our answer times the value of 2. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and just console log this value. And you see we're getting back 2. Now we see we're Now that we see we're returning our value, so let's go ahead and just paste everything that we have here. So we can copy everything we have here, and we're going to paste it into LeetCode. Let's go ahead and run it. And our output is our expected output, which is 2. Um, this problem may have came in a little bit confusing. So if you guys have any trouble, just feel free to contact me. And I advise you guys to look into some of JavaScript's other built-in classes like map and set. So just familiarize your guys with it, because the more familiar you get with it, the more you can actually use it. And believe me, definitely it's going to help out for some of those job interviews where you actually understand JavaScript on a deep, very deep expert level. Anyways, yeah, I'll catch you guys next time. Take care.